Let's do some quick fire questions then. The first one was sent in by Surya Kumar Apu, who says, what are the pros and cons of the European Premier League? I'll jump in a little bit on this one because obviously I've done a video on the European Premier League already this week. Obviously, there aren't too many pros. I'll be totally honest with you. The cons are obvious. It would mean the end of the Champions League. It would mean an extra 34 games being added to each season because it would be running alongside the Premier League and domestic football. So it wouldn't replace the Premier League. It would basically replace the Champions League, and that's probably why you saw a lot of the big teams wanting Project Big Picture to go through, so that the league size would be reduced to 18 and the cups would be axed, meaning they'd have more fixtures in the schedule to play in this European Premier League style round-robin league. Not only do you have the league, you also have a playoff system for winners at the end of it, which would basically be a mini knockout tournament. The biggest cons remain that it would just further the gap in terms of money disparity between the elite and your average club. The money we're talking about for winning the European Premier League is like 3 to 4 times more than you get for winning the Champions League. And the same goes all the way down through the 18 teams. Another con, I would say, is that the 12 founding father teams, the rumours are they won't be able to be relegated for 20 years, which is a
Jesus
not
Christ.
particularly fun way of looking at things, is it? I mean, let's say Manchester United are in there, can't get relegated for 20 years, but continue to be this sort of mediocre 8th to 4th in the Premier League side. It's not great, is it? Let alone how they judge the 6 guest teams who are brought into the league each year. I don't really know. That hasn't been laid out yet. Aren't too many pros. I suppose if you wanted one, you would get to see really high profile games nearly on a weekly basis, but we already see that with the Champions League and the Premier League. So for me, I don't want it to happen. I'm sure the average fan doesn't want it to happen, and it feels like nobody other than the truly elite want it to happen, right, Jalab?
Yeah, I think you're right. If, like, from a distance, it's like, oh, cool, you get to see Chelsea take on Real Madrid, United take on Bayern Munich every single week, and that seems quite cool. But and as a top 6 fan, but I think it financially and it's the way it would just kind of screw over everyone else isn't good. It would really make a big divide between the two, and I kind of like getting rid of the Champions League and things like this. It's a bit mental. Like it's been a thing for so long, even maybe apart from a name change, it's been a thing for so long. And I don't know why everyone keeps wanting to change football at the moment. I think football is really good how it is. Like things like VAR and things like that are different, but the fundamentals of football right now, just everyone's wanting to change them all the time. And I'm just kind of like sitting there like, it's alright as it is. Like, it doesn't need to be changed this dramatically. I don't know. If it ended up being, say, like a thing where it was like a pre-season tournament or something like that, I could maybe jump on board a little bit more. But at the moment, it's a big no from me.
All right, Pat, any thoughts on it, or should we go on to the next one?
No, I feel like Zach's nailed it.
All right, let's do this one then from Josh1127_. Are Man United a better team without Paul Pogba, Pat?
Oh, God.
To be honest, I haven't watched that much Man United because I have my own terrible team to watch. I think as currently constituted, yes. Like, I mean, the way that Pogba plays for United these days, yes. Like, he doesn't really deserve to play, and I'm a huge defender of Paul Pogba. But a motivated Paul Pogba playing somewhere towards the peak of his abilities, of course he should be starting for them. He should be starting for pretty much any side in the world. But I'm just not sure that Pogba exists under this United administration. I'm not blaming Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there, really, but it just seems clear to me that the relationship between Pogba and the club is kind of dead. And he's not going to be motivated to play near his best. And they're also not really interested in kind of making a team which does get the best out of him. You need a really solid defensive midfield presence, I think, to play Pogba, and you're not going to. You're not going to have that, like, in this United side. They're going to roll with Fred and Matic and McTominay at the base of midfield. And kind of understandably as well, like, you're not going to drop Bruno Fernandes so you can play Pogba. And a midfield that features Pogba and Fernandes, I think, is quite unstable. It seemed to me like maybe this summer there was an opportunity for United to go and try and use him to get the right player for them. Like, I wonder if United could have used Pogba this summer as a make-weight in a deal for... You know, like, you look at Bentancur not starting every game for Juventus, and you wonder if maybe there was a Bentancur plus cash for Pogba thing that could have been worked out. Like maybe that's not the case, but it feels like he is an asset that United should be using. That doesn't necessarily mean they have to use him on the pitch. But I actually feel just quite sad about what's happened to Pogba. Like, when he broke through, he was the most exciting young central midfielder in the world, and now he's like your Mesut Ozil, which is really tragic.
I think it'd be a bit harsh to call him our Mesut Ozil. Like, he still has.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's in the squad.
Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I also think that at the start of the season, yes, he started the season quite slowly, but let's not also forget that he's come back from international break, or it might have been pre-international break actually, with COVID. At the very start of the season, had COVID. He's had to recover from that. He doesn't look particularly fit yet, I don't think, Pogba. But he's certainly getting there. What I thought was quite interesting in the PSG game was I really liked when Oli, about 65, 70 minutes, brought Pogba on for Tejas, went back to the 4 and then played a diamond in midfield with Fred at the base. Then it was like Pogba and McTominay with Bruno in front of him, and then Rashford and Martial as split strikers up front. I thought that worked lovely when Bruno was in that sort of half space. Pogba had a bit more freedom up the left-hand side, and it could just leave Fred and McTominay just to do all the dirty work. So I just wonder whether that sort of 20-minute period there might have just tweaked something in Ollie's mind, because we still don't have that right winger. So I don't think it would be the worst idea to play a 2 up front, split strikers, Martial and Rashford, with Bruno as almost like a false 9, really high up the pitch forward, and then Pogba having the freedom of the left-hand side of the pitch, or the right-hand side of the pitch if we want to. I think as long as he's got 2 defensive midfielders in behind him, he's fine in there. It's when he has to do defensive work and off-the-ball work, and he's doing flicks and tricks around the edge of his own area, that he's a problem. Because Pogba, like you said, is undeniably on his day one of the best midfielders in world football. The issue I think for him is going to be when his contract's up at United, he's going to be 30.
Wow.
Do I see a major club coming in for a 30-year-old Pogba to the tune of a big bid? I'm not overly sure I do. I think his options are either he runs his contract down at Manchester United and leaves on a free when he's 30, or he stays and knuckles down and tries to add some new things to his game, because, like you said, Pat, Bruno's becoming like undroppable for United. He's like the star player right now. So fingers crossed Pogba can get back to his best, and I really think he can prove some people wrong against Chelsea. Again, I haven't seen the game yet, so fingers crossed. But tends to step up against them. I remember that goal he scored when we were there, Jalab. So he's still, for me, one of our key players.
When is that contract up? When is he 30?
You extended it, didn't you?
Yeah, so 2022.
Okay, well, I mean, I think he'll probably go next summer then.
Like, you think he leaves next summer with 1 year left?
It depends how much Man United ask, but I think that probably, like, if Man United are sensible, they should sell him next summer for just a reasonable fee, because his wages are so high. Like, if I were United, I would sell him next summer and invest that money in like an outstanding like, United should sell Pogba next summer for anything north of 50 mil, really, because his wages really factor into it too. Get a lights-out defensive midfielder, go back for Sancho, and then you've really got something cooking at United. That's quite an exciting.
Do you think they could get Dennis Zakaria?
Probably, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, we're heavily linked with Zakaria, but it's also, I think, Liverpool and Bayern are as well. And if those 2 clubs are in the mix, then United are down the pecking order, aren't they?